Hey there, and welcome back to the video series. This is a video that I've been looking to do for a long time, looking forward to doing for a long time. A bit of background behind it. Inspire is a great tool. Inspire is an incredibly easy tool to use. But as with any software out there, oftentimes what separates the good or the average user from the true power user or oftentimes just the simple little tips and tricks that the power user knows. And so what I want to do is I want to share a lot of the tips and the tricks, the little simple things that I've been using for a long time and many of the other power users of Inspire use. A lot of these are incredibly simple. They'll save you a second here, a couple of seconds there, but those seconds and those couple of seconds add up. They can save you a ton of time. They can make your job a whole heck of a lot easier, and they can allow you to use Inspire that much better. So sit back. We're going to go through a number of my favorite little tips and tricks. It probably won't be all inclusive. I probably forget a few here and there, and means probably have another video coming out sometime in the future with some more that I think of. But I think this will be a relatively comprehensive list of the little tips, the little tricks, the little things that separate your average user from your power user of Inspire. So far and away, the most powerful pro tip that I can give you, if you take nothing else away from this video, if you just take this from this video, is to use the hotkeys. The hotkeys can save you a ton of time, save you a bunch of mouse travel. And primarily when I'm working with hotkeys, it's just for visualization. So for instance, if I come here and I want to isolate this seat, for instance, I could come to here and select this, and actually I gotta control pick the other side here, and then I could come over to here and figure out where they are and right click on it and isolate. Or if I just click I on my keyboard, it isolates the seat. If I want to bring everything back, I just click A on my keyboard and that will turn everything on or off. If I want to get rid of so if I hit A again, everything turns off. If I want to get rid of the ground because I just want to work on the vehicle, if I click the ground and I click H on my keyboard, that hides. And then F for fit. And another thing that a lot of people don't know about fit is fit will toggle between fitting the entire model and fitting the selection. So if I come down here and I pick this little part right there, in fact, you can barely even see that it's selected. If I click F again, it's going to fit just that selected model or selected part. And if I click F again, it'll fit the entire model. A lot have you, hopefully, when you took the class, were shown the show and hide down here, which is another way to show and hide things. You see, you click that, you get the little black star uh, or the white star, and the black star will hide things, and the white thing will turn them back on, and that's great. But really, I use the hide constantly. So I click that, I click H, and it hides it. If I click R, it actually will reverse the visualization. So everything that's hidden will come back, and everything that's visualized will be hidden again. Now, these hotkeys and many others are programmed into Inspire. And if you come here to File and Preferences, and you come to the keyboard shortcuts, you can see many of these. So File, New, Open, Import, Save. And I don't necessarily use these a lot. I tend to focus more on just going up to the icons up there. But of course, we have our undo and our redo, our cut, copy, paste. Full screen's kind of a nifty one. I use that occasionally, and what that's going to get rid of your header bar up here and kind of bring you to a nice full screen view. And then you have your standard views here, so top, bottom, front, back, the ones that you can get from down here off of the triad. And then, of course, hopefully you were taught the F2 and F3. F2 and F3 are really great. They turn on and off the model browser and the property editor. And then F4 will bring on and off the Python window down at the bottom. And those can also be found, of course, here in the view. But what isn't shown in there, because they're not changeable, are the hotkeys that I was just talking about. So what I often, or not what I often do, what I always do here is I come here to File, and I come to Help, and I come to the Help, and that was going to open up Help in your browser here. And then if you just search keyboard, and the very first thing here, keyboard shortcuts, you have this nice little print here. I print it to a PDF, or you can send it to a printer, and you'll see my show hide all, fit, show hide selected, isolate. We've got move and push pull, the reverse, and then all of these different keyboard shortcuts here. And then it also talks about the mouse, and we'll talk about the mouse in a little bit. But these are all of the different keyboard shortcuts that can improve your life, can make things go a lot quicker and a lot smoother for you. So like I said, if you take nothing else away from this video, start using these keyboard shortcuts. They're really, really handy and can save you a ton of time. So another important thing to keep in mind when you're working with Inspire are your mouse controls. So hopefully you were taught the standard mouse controls in Inspire, that your right mouse button is going to pan your model. Holding down the middle mouse button, excuse me, is going to give you your rotation. And what a lot of people also don't know is it's just going to rotate default around that center there. But wherever you hit the right mouse or hit the center mouse button for the rotate, if it's on the model, probably not the best choice. Let's go to something a little bit lighter here, this right here. So if I right click right here, you'll notice that that little X gets placed right there, and that becomes the center of my rotation. So whatever you want the center of your rotation to be, bring that into view here. Hold your cursor over that, hit the right mouse button, and then that becomes the center of rotation, whatever the geometry is immediately below your pointer. So the right mouse button is gonna zoom, pan. Your middle mouse button is gonna zoom. And you see, since I wasn't anywhere near the model, it just kind of defaulted to the center of the screen there. And then, of course, the scroll wheel is your zoom in and out, and it's using wherever the pointer is as a focus. But what a lot of people don't necessarily know, and hopefully it was something that you learned in your training class. But if you didn't, or if you're self-taught, you might not know about this. If you come up here to the File and to Preferences, and you come to Mouse Controls, you can actually edit all of the different mouse controls. And we do have the modifiers on there. So we have the standard, just clicking the button, the right is the pan, rotate and zoom in and out. Excuse me. I'm sorry, the left and right is the pan. But then we have the Control, Shift, and Alt modifiers on there. You'll notice that the alt right is tool belt. That's going to be another topic here that we're coming up to in another one of these segments here. I think you're going to find this interesting because not a lot of people know about that. But you can edit these to whatever you want. Really the only standout of all of these is the turntable rotation. We'll talk about that in a second. But what some people don't know is up here in the presets, if I click that default, you will see all of the popular CAD packages listed here. So one of the key features of Inspire is to make this as easy to use as possible and make your transition from a CAD system into Inspire as seamless as possible. And anyone who's used multiple GUI-based systems knows that moving from one to another with the different ways of manipulating things graphically with the mouse, it can be rather difficult. Well, we wanted to make this as easy as possible. So you'll notice here, so say you're a SolidWorks user. If you click SolidWorks, and now they all just say default settings for SolidWorks, and if I were to click OK, my mouse controls will mimic those of SolidWorks, or CATIA, or Creo, or NX, Solid Edge, any of the, even the old legacy HyperWorks. They will mimic that, And it means that however you manipulate your model in that CAD package, it's going to allow you to do the same in Inspire, making that transition from one to the other so much easier. So keep that in mind. Remember, it's the file, the preferences, and mouse controls. Before I move off of this segment, I do want to mention the turntable pan or the turntable rotate. So this is what we call the trackball rotate, where it's going to view your pointer in relation to the center of rotation, and whatever you are away from that, whatever direction you're moving, that's how it's going to rotate. But if I hold I believe it was the shift key down. Let me come back here. Always good to check here. So shift and the right mouse button. So if I hold the shift key down and the right mouse button, what you're going to notice is it will want to zoom, and this is really something you probably should be doing actively to understand it, but look down at the z-axis in the triad. You'll notice that the z-axis is not moving. I am rotating strictly about the z. And then as I move up and down, I orient that z, and now if I go left and right, again, I'm moving strictly about the z. It can be a little bit disorienting at first, especially if your z is pointing down, because your model's going to rotate opposite from what you would think it would be. But the advantage to this is it allows this, like they call it turntable rotation. So imagine you've put this onto a turntable or a lazy Susan, and you're getting pure left-right rotation out of it. And then your up-down just orients that left-right direction. And you can get some zoom or some rotate out of it in a special way that can be particularly useful in certain instances. It's not widely used, which is why it's kind of stuffed off on the shift alter or the shift modifier panel. But it does have its uses, and it when you need it, it can be very useful. It does, of course, require that you have your z-axis in a convenient direction, which this is not. My z-axis ideally would be pointed up from, pointed in the direction that the Y is, so I can get the turntable rotation of the vehicle back and forth. Having it point down the length of the vehicle probably isn't the most ideal, but it gives you an idea of what the turntable rotation does. And so by using the shift and the right mouse key, you can get a turntable rotation there. So give that a shot. It's really kind of tough to grasp until you actually do it, but give it a try, and you may find a useful need for the turntable rotation. So in this segment, I want to talk about a feature that's been with Inspire pretty much since the beginning, and one that's relatively new, and that is the custom menu. So up here, you can see the little plus. If I click that, I get a custom page here. And what I can do with the custom page is kind of create my own little ribbon. There are many, many icons across the structure, the geometry, um, motion, but we don't necessarily use all of them all the time. So oftentimes what I'll do is when I'm working on a project, I'll grab some of the things that I use a lot. So come here and let me rename this, and I'll just call it Erik. So I like the Boolean. So I grab the Boolean and I drag it up here and I drop it on Erik. And I like the rectangles and simplify and push pull. So those are the ones from geometry, and then from structure, maybe fasteners, loads, and I don't need materials, and we'll grab the analyze and we'll drop it in there. And now come to my thing here, and you'll see I have my own little special ribbon. And so with this, I can get things from structures, from geometry. I can even grab some stuff from motion, put it in there. And I can have my own ribbon, so I don't have to keep popping back and forth from ribbon to ribbon to get to the features that I'm going to use the most. Now, if there's something not on here, of course, I'll pop back over to geometry. But this is going to limit my mouse travel up here, having to switch from ribbon to ribbon by creating my own little custom one that has my most used tools in it. And you can create as many custom ribbons as you want. Maybe I'll create one for motion. Maybe I'll create one for doing a structural analysis. Whatever I want to do. It's just a way to simplify moving around within Inspire. I don't have to be going from ribbon to ribbon. And that was the one that's been around for a while. We've had that pretty much since the beginning, where you could add your own custom ribbon to it. Where we have a function that's relatively new is the tool belt. And if from the last segment you remember, under preferences here, it's the Alt and the right mouse button is going to get you the tool belt, or the standard tool belt. So let me cancel that. If I hold my Alt and I click my right mouse button, and if I can let go of the right mouse button, but I have to keep my finger on Alt. If I let go of Alt, that goes away. But this is a tool belt. This is another way of quickly accessing a number of functions within Inspire without having to go up to the ribbons up top. And you'll notice as I come to here, I've kind of got this wheel around here, and then I have all of these. I can actually customize this. So this is just the default one there. But if I come to configure tool belt, now I can let go of the Alt, and because I'm in the configuration, I can put these wherever I want. So I have all of these different segments here. And then I can come to Shift and Alt and Control Alt. So I have all these different modifiers, and I have all these different tool belts that I can get there. And I can grab features from the icons up here, and I can pop them into where I want. So what I can do, this is the default one. I can just clear this entirely, and it says, yeah, and now I can create my own. So I could say, okay, I want my Boolean here, and I want my rectangles here, and my simplify here, and push pull here. We'll put fasteners there and loads there, and analyze right here, and click OK. And now if I Alt and right click, oops, hold on. Oop, did I not save that? That's possible. So let's try that again. Clear current, yes. And we'll drop my stuff on here. Oh, I got that twice. Oh well, doesn't matter. I missed the fasteners. There we go. And click OK. There we go. And now I've got my own little custom tool belt there. And again, to customize it, just keep that Alt key held down, right click, and configure tool belt. And then if I want to, I can just come here to reset current, and it will go back to the default. And so you can see here the Alt, the Shift Alt. Oh, that's why, because I was in Shift Alt when I did that. So let me reset that. Yeah, there we go. So this is dealing a lot with my forces. It looks like some optimization stuff on there. The Control Alt, which looks like it's mostly motion stuff, and the Control Shift Alt, which looks like it's going to be polynerb related. So some ways of rapidly getting to some functions within HyperMesh. Or I'm sorry, within Inspire, that I think you'll find handy. This is a relatively new tool. I think it came out in 2019 release, or one of the point releases of that, and it's continuing on into the 2020. And it's a great new tool that a lot of people don't know about. So give it a try, and possibly speed up your use of Inspire there. So the last pro tip I want to leave you with in this video is in regard to snaps, and hopefully you already know about snaps. Snaps can be found down here in this icon, so you can see all the different snaps that we have: grid, end, middle, center, center arc, quadrant on, snap to visible. Snaps are an incredibly useful aspect of Inspire. Let's see, cut. That's always a good one. So if I come here to cut, maybe I want to cut this beam exactly in half. I just move that and you see it snaps right to the midpoint. And snaps are also really useful when I'm sketching. So a sketch on this right here. And if I want to draw a line and I want it to come on that and I want it to be perpendicular or grab the midpoint right there, the midpoint right there, snaps can be really, really useful in that regard. But snaps can also be a little bit of a hindrance, and I find it particularly problematic when I'm doing a push-pull operation. So let me double click. And this is another little tip here that you may not know. A lot of people will just come up here to the push-pull faces and grab that face there. But if you double click on a face, it puts you into push-pull. So there's a little freebie pro tip for you there. But you'll see as I'm trying to push-pull this, it's grabbing all sorts of snaps on all this stuff behind there. Um, and I can find that a little bit problematic, especially when I'm trying to get a good push-pull. So what I'll often do is I'll come down here to snaps and I'll just turn them all off. And now I'm free to move this in any way that I want without inadvertently grabbing a snap. And then when I'm done, I'll just come here and turn them all back on. So, so this was a little talk on the usefulness of snaps, but also how snaps can sometimes be a little bit problematic, and switching them off can help you with that. And one more little freebie here that just came to mind. So I had mentioned just a few moments ago that if you double click on something, it's going to put you into push-pull mode. But if you triple click on something, it actually will take you into sketch mode on that face. And then I can come and indicate what I want to sketch on there. So another little tip there. Double clicking on a face will put you into push-pull mode. Triple clicking on a face will put you into sketching on that. So another couple of things that may save you some time. So that's it. That kind of wraps up this pro tips video. Didn't want it to be too long. Didn't want to take up too much time people watching it. But hopefully these little tips, you can take them to heart. You can figure out which ones are going to be useful to you, and find ways to make use of them. And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with the dramatic increase in efficiency and capabilities that you're going to get with Inspire. As I mentioned early on and have said for years and years and years, oftentimes the only thing that separates the regular user of a software from the true pro user, the people that they call a guru, are these little tips, are these little tricks that can help you save some time here, help you do things a little faster, a little more efficiently. So hopefully these help you out. I imagine I'll figure out some more that I missed from this and come out with another pro tips video once I collect a number of those. But keep your eye out for some more Inspire Instructional video series. And again, I appreciate you watching, and enjoy Inspire.